all about two types of golfers. Can't release it, two-way miss, right, right, left, left. But what can you do today? There we go, just nudge them. We don't want to be pulling this club down. Speed in softness. There's no speed and tightness. I always used to say, watch the ball disappear onto my forefinger there. But I remember doing this on the challenge tour. Oh, that was a late skanky one. And then turn through. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Warren Bennett. Trev's rolling around just out of shot down there, so I'm sure he'll make a guest appearance or two. And welcome to a video all about two types of golfers. So I'm generalising a little bit, but mainly the golfer is a little bit over the top, over plane, having to compensate and hang on, or they're a little bit inside plane, under plane, then having to compensate from there. There is a third type that's on plane, but that's a minority. So if you're a little bit over the top or under plane, I'm going to talk about firstly just a little brief overview of what that is, and then more importantly how we can fix it. So I'll just get the front camera set up this time. I'll make sure Trev's in the shot for the video. I'm going to tell you all about it. Okay everyone, thanks very much for joining me for another one. That's the main man in the shot there, so hopefully he'll bring you some entertainment rolling around in the background. So like I said, there's two types of golfers. One that's under plane. See from the behind view, that's the plane line. I'll try and get it as close to plane as possible. Oh, that's a little bit heavy for the first one of the day. In an ideal world, you want it as close to plane as possible, because if you can get it on plane, you can now let the club do the work. Either that's by turning through and the club will just turn with you in a perfect world. If you're over plane, I've said it many times in the channel, you're going to have to hang on and compensate. You can't release it, can't create the power you're looking for. Or if you're under plane, inside here, generally that's for the golfer that hooks it, starting right, they get a little bit overactive here with their hands. They have to, because you can't turn through there. Well, you can, I used to do that, and then it used to go right. So if you've got like a two-way miss, right, right, left, left, have a look at your plane line first, either you're over the top or you're under. So that's a very, very glossed over version of what the plane line looks like here. Let me see if I can get another one close to plane, and without fatting it this time. Oh, back foot, but it was a better shot. Rightio, so let's talk about the golfer who's a little bit over plane, has to hang on. What type of feels can you have? If you've been to the channel, you would have heard me talk about a lot about this, but it's always good, I think, to dip my toe in the water, give you some reminders. But what can you do today? When you go out on a golf course, what type of feels can you take out there to allow this club to drop a little bit more? Okay, first of all, we're going to start off with our stance. What you don't want to do is, and this is pretty much with every club, obviously with a driver you're going to be a little bit more behind the ball naturally, but a great little feeling is to bump both hips forward. Gives you a little bit of natural spine tilt, so you want to keep your head there, you don't want to knock your head back too much, but just a little pocket shift. Remember what I talk about the shifting. If you introduce 10-20% of that to start with, this is a little bit exaggerated, but it's really giving you the feeling of your hips. You can see the kind of the both corridors with my pockets there. If you're back here, because remember where you want to hit the ball is kind of this way if you can, a little bit forward and ahead of it with your bottom half. What you don't want to do is start from back here, because you've got a lot of work to do from there. And it's obviously in a very short space of time. So first little tip is just nudge your pockets. You don't really need to go with it with your top half. Keep your top half pretty much over the ball. You can see there, if I pendulum my left heel, it's pretty much over the ball there. So just nudge your pockets, it's a little exaggerated, and then keep your head there, and then allow everything to swing. Oh wow, I think I need a bit of that. So now you're really kind of layering that lateral shift, because you're looking for a little bit of shifting onto your front leg here. And if you're doing that at the start, remember, not with your top half, just with your hips alone, with your pockets. There we go, just nudge them and then let it go. So that's the first little tip I would say. So to complement that, I would always work it off a still axis. What you don't want to do is have just even a few inches of lateral motion with your top half, spirals down your body, and then you're really stuck here. Generally people try and create a little bit of power by leaning into it, because you can feel it with your shoulders and your head moving forward. Or if you've hit a lot of shots into the wind, especially over the winter here in the UK, and we try and lean into it too much, you want to lean into it with your bottom half. That's what's called separation. So the easiest way for me to feel that is head nice and still, pockets forward, and obviously we're going to nudge them at the start, and you're going to see here, I'm going to keep my head exactly where it is and allow everything to move. Okay, that was up the right, that's what I expected. A little bit exaggeration, a little bit over separated for me because I get it a bit droppy, but that's a good thing, because remember we're dealing with the golfer who's over the top here. So you need to feel that separation. So that's two little mini feelings we can take on the golf course. Little bump, head still throughout, nice light grip, nice light arms, because what you're looking for in transition, you're looking for this softness. Softness doesn't necessarily mean down, because we don't want to be pulling this club down. You want to let it drop if you can. You're only letting it drop when everything's as light or as soft, I like. It's not necessarily light, but you're kind of really soft, and soft allows a little bit of lag as well. So you can do this little exercise coupled with your head still, coupled with a little bit of lateral motion. You can do a few practice swings before you play here. You just let it go. Head nice and still. That means even through the hitting zone, allow the club to pass. You can see the gears of the body, it's exaggerated, gears of the body are nice and still, a little bit of kick in, and then the club and the arms are doing all the work there. That's an exaggerated feeling for me, but you need to feel that if you're over the top and a hang-oner. Oh, it's really kind of goes against the grain a little bit of control, but hanging on and feeling like you're kind of controlling it, or a bit of a chicken wing, always comes, I think, 99% of the time from pre-impact. If you're in the wrong position or you're back here, you can't release. Well, if you smother hook it every now and again, you know where that's coming from as well. You probably release it from this over the top. If you can imagine that you're literally just holding on, you don't need to be this light when you hit a ball, but just practice swings. Just trust that club's going to want to drop for you. They're not holding on, you're not going to pull down here, you're just allowing it, because there's speed in softness. There's no speed in tightness at all. But it's probably not your fault if you're tight, because you're in the wrong place and you have to hang on. You can't let go, you can't be soft. So the word of the day for you golfers a little bit slicey is softness. Softness and speed, they come together. So remember, it's always more to the story than this, but sometimes we just need to get out on the golf course and take away the positional. I know I'm kind of contradicting maybe myself a little bit, but we do need to add drills to the party, but this is all about taking it out on the golf course straight away. Little bump, head nice and still throughout, light as you can, let the club go heavy, release past your head. You can see how still my head is. I really felt like I was watching that ball disappear there. Hit a few while I talk, just carry on. I remember when my brother used to go and see Ian Connolly, he always used to say, watch the ball disappear. Bump, head nice and still, watch the ball disappear, nice and light with my hands and arms. Ooh, I finned it, but it went straight. Remember, there's speed and softness. Beautiful little statement. Light grip, no control, no control. You can feel a little bit of hinging if you like. Let the club go high, just let it fall where it wants to fall. I know it's easier for me to say that, but just trust it. You don't need to be perfect. That certainly wasn't perfect. And I keep saying exaggerating, but it's really important for you to feel an exaggeration. It's that feel a mile to gain an inch thing, especially on the golf course when it starts to get a bit tight. You want to give yourself the best chance to let this club swing and do the work for you, a little bit anyway. Okay, head over the ball, I'm going to bump our pockets. Nice light grip, a little bit more in the top fingers here of my left hand. Everything else is like a 2 out of 10. Nice and light, few little waggles, no tension at all. Arms light, soft. Oh, let that release, let the club go. Remember, you can add a little bit of shifting as well, but remember these pockets going that way gives you a little bit of natural spine tilt. Great for a driver as well. Let me go and get it. It's the same with a driver. So obviously it's going to be a bit more of our front foot. You can still bump, so you can see now I've got a little bit of natural spine tilt. let this club drop and let it release. Bang! No control, let the club pass my head. There's speed down the bottom. Weirdly in golf, you would have heard me say less is more a few times. And I don't have the problem, so take it with a pinch of salt. But if you can just add 10%, a little bit of this less is more feeling, a little bit more of this type of look for a slicer, and then you can let go from here. You won't feel it in your body. That's the tricky thing of a golfer who puts too much effort in. When you kind of stop the gears working and you allow this club to work, what I mean by stop the gears, the body. So you're in a position where you can just stop here and allow this club to swing past you. That's the less is more feeling. You won't feel it. You'll feel like you're putting less effort in, but the club and the arms will put the effort in down there, will naturally want to speed past you, especially if you let this club go heavy on you. Difficult these days with the old graphite and everything's a bit lighter than it was back in the day with the old Persimmons. But allow this to swing past, allow. There's obviously drills on the channel that educate your hands and arms to do this releasing. But if you're in this position, if you trust it and put this club in the position to allow this club to swing, then a little bit will get layered into your swing, especially on the golf course. As we know on the golf course, it's difficult because we're always a little bit sucked into old. It doesn't matter what your old is. We always get a little bit dragged into our old swings. Next time you play, I really recommend taking these little feelings. Trust it. I'm not saying take this straight out to the club championship first round without even trying it, but next time you go on the golf course, see what happens. Put yourself in a little bit of a different position at your posture, and then you can trust this club. Give the club the best chance you can. See what happens out on the golf course. And I always say to people, and I always say in a lot of the videos, you only need a little bit. You don't need to turn yourself into Fred Couples overnight, that's for certain, but just a little bit of this club doing the work for you. Okay, so that's the slicer of the ball. Let's get on to the golfer who's a little bit inside, a little bit jammed, and then overusing the hands. Okay, you golfers are a little bit stuck and inside, a bit overuse of the hands, a bit hooky. And what can you do? Well, I would say don't go light with your grip. You don't want this thing dropping down too much. So a little bit of pressure here. If you can see my finger, I like to pressurize the club with this part of my finger, my forefinger here. So I've really got control of that club with that part of the grip, if you can see that. So you really want to try and feel like you're just pressurizing this bit, not the other fingers. Fingers can be like 5 out of 10, but this is like a 7 out of 10. Really feeling the control of the club head with this kind of thing. So you can see my grip there. I've got this pressure onto my forefinger there. It's a really good one to keep hold of this club and not let it get jammed back behind you. So you can really feel whatever your finger is doing here, your forefinger, hopefully the club will respond a bit more as well. So without doing drills, like I said with the first half of the video, obviously we're wanting this club to come out and across a little bit more. What can we do to stop that? So what I would do, I'm going to do the opposite to what we did before. We're going to pull our hips back a little bit. So you can see now I'm going to introduce a little bit of spine tilt the other way. So we're going to tilt our body a little bit the other way. This is exaggerated, by the way, but I remember doing this on the Challenge Tour. So I remember feeling bang in here. So I remember really locking my hips back. It's exaggerated. But it really gives me a chance to now get my top half working over my bottom half. Remember the previous video, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, about the torque drill, really pressurizing down to allow this to move. It's the same thing. All I'm doing here is just nudging my pockets. Remember, this is for you golfers who are wanting to go straight out onto the golf course. So a bit of pressure in my forefinger. Right, okay, so now we're just going to nudge my hips back, keep it there, and then turn through. You can see the ball started left there. It didn't fade, so I must have flipped it, but it started left, it didn't start right. Sometimes we haven't got all the balls juggling in the right order. If you're on the golf course, you can't change your swing, you've got to try and make do. This is a great one. Okay, head still, we're not going back with the head. Keep the head over, nudge your pockets back. It's exaggerated, but you can see there, my right pocket's this side of my head now. Remember the other way was this way. Okay, back. Hold it there, still twist, then turn through. That was better. Oh, that was a late skanky one, I called it. But different to someone who's inside, really over the top with my top half. So there's two little feelings you can take on the golf course, a little bit of forefinger pressure and the hips back here. Now the next one, my feeling would be I would want to feel like my hands aren't going away from me, because generally people hook it, block it too much that way. I want to feel from about here, even if my club drops a little bit too inside, which is the hardest thing to change, short term, that's for certain. I'm going to feel the butt of my club over my left heel as quick as I can from here. So I'm going to pull left basically. So I'm not pulling left from the top, although you can play around with the timings. But from about here, I'm really going to feel the butt of my club going round my left pocket, really getting the semicircle going left as quick as possible. Let's see what that does. Bit of pressure in my forefinger, pockets back, but head still over. Okay, we're really going to pull left with the butt of the club. Oh yes, a little bit of fade. A little bit up the right, a little blocky, so I could probably feel that a little earlier. That pull left. So I want it to start left and then fade. Obviously I don't want to start it right and fade. So a bit of pressure. It's good, that pressure with the grip, because I can really feel that and control it on the way through. If that pressure wasn't there, I would then wrap it over with my top hand. Remember, a few slices, that's a good thing. I'm encouraging my top half to turn and release over my bottom half here. Okay, pressure in. Pockets back, pull across. There we go, felt that much earlier, not easier, earlier from the top of the swing. That's what I mean about the timing of it. You might have to, depending on your fault, if you're a lot jammed in here, tilted under, you might have to feel that semicircle, that pulling, that butt of the club is pretty much from the top of the backswing all the way through. Okay, from the top of the backswing, I'm just going to pull left. Ooh, wow. Remember, those pockets are quite important because it kind of gives you a little bit more early rotation with the body. So my pockets being here gives the chance for my top half to do that. Obviously it's exaggerated. If I went that way, remember the few slices want a little bit of spine tilt this way, then it's going to encourage that to happen inside and release with the hands. So with the pockets being this way, I'm encouraging now not a release from my hands, a release of my body. I'm just giving the club a reminder, because in a perfect world, just doing that should be enough, because I'm going to be hard pressed to get in that position because there's a long way to go from there. But I'm just giving it a reminder, getting that club the best chance to go this way. I'm basically telling my club to do this, to get out to the ball. Obviously not like that, but that's the feel, because I don't want my club to be in here, remember. Butt of my club looking back into my left pocket here. There we go. Closes the gap of the arms. See the difference there? There we go. It wasn't the best strike, a bit toey, but it's okay. It's stopping that hook. And hopefully these little feelings will not necessarily take away your slice or take away your hook, but it can maintain it. It can soften it a little bit, so it's a little bit more playable out on the golf course. But please let me know if you've given this a go in the past, or you've given it a go. Any feedback is very, very welcome, not only for myself but for other people reading. So it's really invaluable for you to leave your comment and leave a message. It would really help me, not only as a channel, but for other golfers as well to read it. So thank you very much in advance. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much if you are a regular visitor to the channel. But if this is your first time, welcome. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch and to support the channel here. And not only that, if you're a member of any of the membership schemes, you're going the extra mile to not only help me, and Trev as well, but to get out here, make the videos every Tuesday and Friday. And not only that, we're going to hopefully start those Academy Versus videos very soon. So thank you very much for your generosity. It is very, very much appreciated. Okay everyone, so thanks very much for joining me. Well, I should say us. Have a great golfing week. Stay healthy on and off the golf course. Hopefully it's as sunny where you are as it is here. And we'll see you next time. Cheerio!